Well, hello people. 2 years ago, DC rebooted their whole comic library back to issue number 1, and also this is what got me into comics. More importantly, I got into the Flashpoint sort of series, but this was what got me into comics in general. And I have reviewed on this channel about several DC kind of events. Just to name a few: Grey Lantern, Rise of the Third Army, and also Wrath of the First Lantern, Batman, Death of the Family sort of crossover, Superman, Heal on Earth, and of course the Justice League Aquaman event, Throne of Atlantis. And while some of those events were really good, maybe kind of a little bit disappointing, they were general events, and I do try to keep as much sort of into the DC events as I can. But Trinity War was one that I was really looking forward to, and DC was hyping up to the max. They brought out the Phantom Stranger first, which was one of the Trinity of Sin, and then not long before the Trinity War, they released the Trinity of Sin Pandora. I buy all the Justice League titles. Justice League of America, and Justice League Dark, and of course I also bought Justice League International. So I'm very well kind of up to date to it, and I was generally looking forward to it. And while looking up the group Solstice for it, I know it's only going to be kind of like a 2-month event, so it was interesting, very, very interesting. And also, the events that happen within this one will correspond to the true main event, which is Forever Evil. So I was very curious and very looking forward to it. And there was a nice kind of video that Jeff Johns did for, I think, the DC sort of channel. And it's very good, gives you a good kind of roundup. Also, there's a lot of good sort of videos out there. There was one video I sort of watched that gave you a good kind of rough summary to get forward to it. I'll leave all kind of links down in the description. And generally, this is it. This was the event, and by God, I really enjoyed it. Now, the story just takes place with all the sort of the 3 main Justice League titles, so that was really kind of good, because I liked the feeling that they all kind of were a part of it in the big picture. And to what I like though, like the twists and the turns, that they tried to not spoil as much of the big picture as they could. Like, they give you kind of little hints towards it, but overall though, it was really good. Gotta say, the creative team behind all of this did a tremendous job. I think this is by far the best DC event that they've done so far, but this is just small fries to the bigger event, Forever Evil. So, but before that sort of fully comes out, this was done really, 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 really well, and the big surprise at the end really does lead up to Forever Evil, which was very surprising. Not going to spoil it for you because that'd be bad. But it does set the motion for Forever Evil. And one thing I will say that I thought that was done really well was the tie-in issues. There are only really kind of like, I think was it like 5 tie-ins. Like, you have the first 3 Pandora titles, so they're the first tie-ins, and you have Constantine issue 5, and then you have Phantom Stranger issue 11, which are all really good tie-ins. They don't kind of ruin the whole big picture of it all, but it does it just helps give you that much bigger sort of feel, and kind of like what happened, you know, within that kind of time span. And of course, it's done really, really well. And one of the things I like is the fact how they brought Shazam sort of into it, and it kind of starts around Shazam in a way, but other than that, it was just done really, really well, except for one thing. Not going to sort of spoil it or anything, but there was one character that I was really kind of like typical, really typical. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I just saw it and I thought that was just damn typical. And just to give you that little hint, it was just near towards the end of the Justice League titles, so it's within that comic alone. But other than that, I loved this. And before I go away, I will honestly say that I will urge you all try to pick up these titles. There are only 6. You only have to pick like the last 2 Justice League titles. They're like, over here in the UK they're £3, over in the US they're like $4, but it's totally worth it. And I would say probably wait for the trade, but the trade will come out like maybe not until next year. So I try to grab them as fast as you can and enjoy the hell out of it. And with that, I like to get your guys' thoughts on this. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you thought it was overrated? Or did it precede your expectations? Use a wee let, comment, comment, like, dislike, or subscribe. And with that, I'll see you guys real soon.